Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Comanche with the Weekly Comic Book Wrap. We're still making our way through this week's massive haul, and let's kick things off with Avengers Inc. number 4. Where we left off, a group of juggling-themed villains were looking into the murder of one of their own, Oddball. So the issue begins with Oddball's murder. Oddball's on the phone with one of the other members, and apparently he missed a meeting of the Death Throes. Moon Knight was tailing him, and well, Oddball didn't want to get thrown off another roof. Shortly after saying this, however, Oddball is apparently shot in the head with an ant. But the body's found. Basically the superpower corner, Henry something is called, though it's in fact Hank Pym. Basically, he explains it's through use of some nanotech from the far future, Oddball and others have had their deaths faked, and are basically they can either help Hank or no, they can die with the nanotech. After Oddball's presumed murder and resurrection, the ringleader of the Death Throes comes to the Jarvis Lounge to discuss the death of Oddball. But apparently also the Death Throes have an issue with Whirlwind, the man whose body Victor Shade, Janet Van Dyne's investigative partner, is inhabiting. But it is brought up that Moon Knight had been trailing Oddball, so Wasp and Vic go to talk to Moon Knight, who explains that yeah, I was tailing him, wanted him to be afraid of getting thrown off a building, well, and if he was doing something. But Jan makes a valid point that he was killed walking while traveling at night, and so Mr. Knight gets his cape and takes a look at the scene. And while there is some blood where Oddball's body was found, nowhere near enough to suggested a gunshot to the head. And then Jan has the same realization that it's not a bullet. It's something smaller. An insect, maybe. A wasp or an ant. And so the trio go to speak to the coroner. Learning that, yeah, it's Hank Pym. But Hank tells the trio what's going on. Basically, he managed to free himself from Ultron, and but he's certain that Ultron is. He wants to make sure that Ultron is gone, and so he's assembled a new lethal legion to take down, to find and destroy Ultron. Of course, and hey, even Moon Knight's on his best behavior, not starting problems or anything. But Hank is actually, I would probably say about normal levels of unhinged for Hank Pym about finding Ultron. But even going for saying they'll hunt him down at the ends of the earth. But Victor Shade, there's no need to do that, as he shoves his hand through Pym and reveals himself to be Ultron. And that is where the issue ends. Apparent with next issue being potentially the last issue. I know there was some hubbub about this not being an ongoing, but hopefully that maybe been rectified. Probably not. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Black Panther number 7. Where we left off, one of Baron T'Chaka's crime bosses was being assaulted by apparently a demon. Black Panther came upon this, saw what was happening. The issue was him trying to save the crime boss, but the crime boss's daughter stops him, figuring that what's happened to her father is the fault of the Black Panther. But T'Challa escapes. And begins to realize that he really doesn't know Baron T'Chaka. Sure, he has, he knows his way around, but when he speaks with his advocate friend Niobe, who explains, okay, he asks him some very pointed questions. When T'Challa wants to listen to local music, where does he go? When he wants some local cuisine, where does he go? Basically pointing out that even as eyes, he doesn't really he doesn't do anything within the city. With Niobe pointing out that T'Challa is observing to control, not observing to know or to learn. And so, Niobe gives T'Challa homework for Ai's next days off. Hear the echo in Terrazia Cliff. Sunday Cat Cat Showcase. Mango Cake at the K2 Market Midnight Harvest. Wednesday Kwaito Nights at the Tavern. Event tournament at Metalli Park. Basically, have eyes become, get to know the community, which, in all honesty, is a good thing. Is good. I mean, I hate to compare this iteration of Black Panther and Batman, but it's kind of like how Batman has the Matches Malone persona. Admitted, primarily Matches Malone exists so that Bruce can infiltrate the Gotham's underworld, namely organized crime, the organized crime syndicates. But it also allows Bruce to interact with the city as not as Batman, but not as Bruce Wayne. It's also similar to Moon Knight's Jake Lockley altar. The Jake Lockley altar exists so that Moon Knight has an altar that's close to the ground, whereas Stephen Grant is in the Ivory Tower. But Eyes begins, becoming known in various places in BT, even ending up getting a brief gig as a bouncer, and being brought in as a driver for Madame Nikisu, the daughter of the late crime boss from the beginning of the issue, who apparently whose father had quite a few documents he was hoarding. Later on, however, Besa snags some documents, which include a note basically asking her out, or asking to meet, from T'Challa. Apparently, T'Challa's done some digging. And it seems that the Nikisus were in business with Carter St. Croix, a UN ambassador. St. Croix is a notable last name, especially in the Marvel Universe. But apparently, T'Challa points out that the St. Croix holiday home mountain chalet is about an hour outside of the city, and so Besa and T'Challa go to check it out, taking the train. When they arrive, Besa points out that they're likely they seem like ivory dealers. As they search the house, however, the reason for the familiarity of the last name was apparent, as Monet St. Croix pops up asking Black Panther what he's doing in her home. And that is where the issue ends. I like this issue. I like the fact that it's made clear that the Golden, T'Challa knows the Golden City, and it could probably be argued even then not as well as one would like, but he doesn't know the rest of his country. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Captain Marvel #3. Where we left off, Captain Marvel had become bound to the Negabands alongside a young woman named Yuna Yang. Basically, they swapped places when they, banged the bands together. And Yuna had broken into the Sanctum Sanctorum. But, of course, a big old dragon attacks Yuna in the Sanctum. And while traveling to the negative zone, Carol discovers a fortress. But Clea and Doctor Strange show up, stopping the creature that's attacking Yuna, and also wrapping her up. They are aware of who she is. She is a known thief of mystical artifacts. And she's freed a giant plant hydra. Which is linked to a book, and as they can't seem to be able to stop it, well, Carol, with the reluctant blessing of Doctor Strange, destroys said book. But Clea and Doctor Strange are able to somewhat purge some of the dark magic influence from the Negabands. And when it comes to removing the bands, a lost artifact is mentioned. Kept in a fortress made of shift stones surrounded by a ring of matter-corrosive fluid. But the world it belonged to disappeared long ago, and, well, it's the fortress that Carol saw. And so the plan is a heist into the fortress, and later on, Yuna's texting her would-be lady love, and, well, turns out that Leonore's an at least unwilling or unknowing operative of Omen. And that is where the issue ends. I'm digging this run so far. I figure that soon Carol will be no longer linked to the Negabands. It's a nice callback, but yeah. Hopefully, also what's become of Genus will also be remedied. I mean, they just brought him back just so he'd get a big old hole shot through his chest. Yeah, that don't track. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Sensational She-Hulk number 3. Where we left off, I cannot remember their names. The Booths, a couple obsessed with becoming gamma mutates, and who in fact stole some of She-Hulk's blood in order to become gamma empowered, have gone after the Hulk. Because, that's a smart thing to do. Namely, trying to get more Hulk blood in the hopes that perhaps as Mark's gamma mutation is worn off, but April's hasn't, well, yeah. Though it seems that Mark is more interested in trying to maybe cure his wife, though she doesn't want to be cured. But and when Mark manages to get a sample of the Hulk's blood, April crushes it. And she also comes up with her supervillain name, Anathema, and runs off into the city. But Hulk and She-Hulk jump away, and they talk. It helps that Hulk heard what She-Hulk said to the booth about how neither Hulk or She-Hulk asked to be a Hulk. They just, what happened. But we do get more of the fact that, yeah, Hulk is very mad at Banner. Understandable after the whole spaceship Hulk thing. But Jen tries to make clear that, as far as she's concerned, Hulk is just as much family to her as Banner. But they talk more, which I have to admit, it's nice seeing Hulk and She-Hulk talk. Just, talk. And then Hulk leaps away. Back in Brooklyn, Mallory Book, She-Hulk's boss, gets a call from her mom. Apparently, She-Hulk's altercation with the Boots got caught on camera, and yeah. And the Avengers are also learning about this at the Impossible City. Apparently, Carol tries texting Jen, but Jen's not exactly great about replying. And so, Carol asks Patsy Walker, Hellcat, to check on She-Hulk. And that is where the issue ends. Oh yeah. That's all going to go real well. Moving on, though, to our last book for the moment, we've got Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars Battleworld, number 2. Where we left off during the original Secret Wars, after Spider-Man had accidentally replaced his costume rather than repairing it. Yeah. Him and Human Torch ran afoul of Absorbing Man and Hobgoblin. Human Torch was largely immobile during the fight. But the heroes escaped, and eventually the villains discovered a citadel outside the city that they were all fighting in. As Absorbing Man and Hobgoblin enter, they find Baron Zemo and Constrictor. Zemo adds that Electro is also with them. Currently, Electro is attacking Spider-Man. Absorbing Man is explaining everything he knows, but namely the Beyonder, the prize, and so on. And well, seems the others were unaware of this at the moment. But Johnny Storm comes to, helps stop Electro. As Spider-Man has injured his arm, he made a sling out of webbing, and it basically the costume makes a sling for himself with it. Electro returns to the Citadel with the villains, and Spider-Man and Human Torch discover they're not alone, as Daredevil, Falcon, and Iceman are with them as well. But the villain's Citadel is thrown into space, and the Beyonder basically says that the stakes have been raised, and that the villains must slay their enemies, or the Beyonder will wipe out all human life. Ever. And so, the heroes and the villains face off. With the Beyonder, the villains basically saying that, hey, we're the good guys here. With the Beyonders still observing, making changes where necessary, impersonating the defective Beyonder. But that is where the issue ends. It's an interesting series. Like I said, I've never read the original Secret Wars. It's one of those stories that you know the basics and the important stuff. But maybe if an omnibus comes out this year, maybe I'll pick that up. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard. Happy New Year, everyone.